We got a good one here. This is the winners bracket finals between Milk and Merc. So the winner of this battle will get access to the grand finals. And we do start off with Crobat against Lapras. Crobat goes for Absorb turn 1, which is a bit of a strange play, because Absorb does, I mean, it is super effective, but it's going to do hardly any damage, and this Lapras should be able to use an ice move. Oh wait, sorry. It was actually Crobat versus Tentacruel. Still. So this next turn should be different here. And we do see Merc switch out into Lucario. Lapras does go for that ice move, but does not do nearly as much against Lucario. And we see Milk bring in a Buzzwole against the Lucario. And we can see just how tanky Buzzwole is. Quite scary. Merc switching into Crobat. Great play against the Buzzwole. So it's nice for Merc that he has that option available. It's really good to have flying when the opponent has a Buzzwole available. Metagross from Milk, Crook for Merc. We see all sorts of switching going on. Crook very has a good advantage against Metagross in both senses, both types. So Milk does have to switch out. Switches into Lapras and gets its speed drop. There's that switch back into Lucario again. Does not get the drop in accuracy. And this Lucario goes for Morning Sun. So nice for Merc to have the healing available on that. Magmortar goes for Will-O-Wisp here, which is a great play by Milk. If he hit the Lucario, that would have been nice. He hits the Crocodile, and that's nice too. So that's a really nice play there. He does choose to stay in against the Crocodile. And goes for a wake up slap. Does do super effective damage, but it's not stab, and it actually doesn't do that much. And the half damage bulldoze ends up doing more. So Milk does realize that and switches into Lapras here. Once again, there's that Lucario. So we kind of see this similar pattern going on over and over. Lucario going for Gear Grind against the Metagross. We'll see if Merc switches into his Crocodile again against the Metagross. It is possible. That is what happens. And Metagross goes for Heart Stamp again. Could have been an opportunity for Milk there to predict, but it looks like he did not. Not this time. And then switch into Garchomp. So we see here that Milk means business. He did bring a Garchomp, of course, to the winner's final. So crazy play here, I think, a little bit. Merc switches in his Weavile against the Garchomp, which is dangerous because Weavile is very strong against Garchomp, but we can see how much damage it takes when it switches in. Weavile is a really good offensive counter to Garchomp. Weavile is definitely not a good defensive counter to Garchomp. So Merc definitely can't switch in this Weavile like that a second time. So it's really important that Merc gets value out of this Weavile now that it's switched in, and we'll see if that happens. Milk switches into Buzzwole, and the Ice Hammer misses. So Weavile, unfortunately, not doing any damage on this switch in, and it won't be able to switch in like that again. It can switch in after one of his Pokemon dies, so that it can be used offensively, but he's not going to be able to use it defensively for sure. There's that Crobat again, and good play by Milk. Milk did predict that by switching into Lapras immediately. Very good play. Lucario comes in on that Ice Beam, as we've seen a few times before, and goes for Morning Sun. So Milk really needs to find a way to break this Lucario. It's really the biggest problem that he's been dealing with this game, is finding a way to break the Lucario, which he can do with Garchomp. So Milk might need to be looking for a situation that he can bring in his Garchomp. He tries to use Tentacruel to battle the Lucario. Looks like he was going for Poison Powder as a way of slowing down the healing of the Lucario, but Lucario is Steel type and is not affected by poison. So that strategy is definitely not going to work here. And goes for it again. It seems like Milk definitely does not realize that Lucario is steel type and not affected by poison, because he did go for that twice in a row. He realizes his mistake and switches out, gets a double there. But once again, all it leads to is Lapras versus Lucario. So Lapras does miss Octazooka here, which is pretty unfortunate for him. But again, what this battle is still and has been this entire time is Milk is desperately looking for a way to beat the Lucario. He's getting some really good predictions, some really good switches. So he is chipping it down, but it's taking quite a long time. Gear Grind miss from Merc there on the Magmortar. So if Milk was able to hit the Will-O-Wisp on the Lucario, that would be pretty nice. It would really, really weaken the threat level of the Lucario. But Merc knows that, and Merc switches into Crocodile, which is already burned. Can't burn something twice. So Merc doesn't really lose out anything on that turn, but it does give Milk an opportunity to bring in Garchomp, because this Crocodile is burned. It's pretty easy to bring in Garchomp, and so now this is maybe what Milk was looking for, finally getting an opportunity to maybe pick up a kill here, which he does do now that he was able to get his Garchomp in. But of course, anytime Merc has a Pokemon die, he is able to bring in his Weavile, which is a big threat. Magmortar comes on in to try and eat that. Takes the Ice Hammer fairly nicely, and it's kind of hard to see here. Ice Hammer does lower your speed. Ice Hammer is very high damage, but it lowers your speed, and Weavile needs to have high speed. So when the Weavile has its speed lowered by 1 stage, is it faster or slower than the Magmortar? I don't actually know, and I'm not sure if the players know either. It could depend on IVs. It's hard to say. So it's a dangerous turn, because if Merc stays in because he thinks he's faster, he could potentially lose his Weavile if he's not faster. But if Milk is slower, then he might lose his Magmortar. Merc does not want to take that risk and does switch into Crobat. And Milk actually here, I'm not sure if he was predicting or just doing a mid-ground play or whatever, but at any rate, the Will-O-Wisp does go out there and the Crobat gets hit by it. So that is also nice to have, because this Crobat will be a little bit weakened because of that. Crobat does get a poison power on the Lapras though, so that could matter. But here's this Lucario once again, the problem that Milk's been having all game. And Milk may be getting a little bit impatient here. This has been kind of a long battle with lots of switching, and the Garchomp comes in on the Gear Grind and takes that Gear Grind damage. So I think Milk really does need this Garchomp alive, very much so, in order to be able to beat the Lucario, because right now Milk's only answer to Lucario is this Garchomp, so he really does need this. He goes for Bone Club trying to kill the Metagross, but the Metagross doesn't die to it and goes for Ice Punch. So now this Garchomp is dead and Milk doesn't have an answer to Lucario anymore. So now he's in a big problem. The Lucario has used quite a lot of healing already, so it might be almost out, so we might be able to wear it down, but we'll see what happens. Lucario goes for Karate Chop against Metagross, not gonna be doing too much, and the Metagross goes for Heart Stamp, so actually does quite good damage. Lucario going for Gear Grind here, and the Metagross probably going to go for Heart Stamp again. It does, and Lucario actually does just go down to the Metagross. So pretty nice for Milk to have that down, but Merc does still have threats available. Brings in the Dragapult, goes for Brutal Swing, and does not kill. I don't know what the Ghost type attack on Dragapult is for this specific Dragapult, but possibly could have killed if he had gone for that instead. And so this Metal Claw damage will be weakening that Dragapult just a little bit. However, the second Brutal Swing will kill this Metagross here. Milk bringing in that Lapras once again to try and fight it, but the Lapras is quite low at this point. And Weavile actually not going down to the Octazooka there, almost does. Very, very close. Tentacruel coming in on the Weavile. Weavile goes for Venoshock. Not sure what that was for. Not sure what he was trying to hit with that. Ice Hammer will finish off this Tentacruel. And the Weavile is very low health, but that's kind of the good thing about Weavile is you don't really need health on Weavile, generally speaking, because you're going to be faster than most things. And this Weavile right now is doing quite a good job of cleaning things up. But it did get lowered. It did get its speed lowered because of that last ice hammer. And so we do see now that the mag mortar is in fact faster after the 1 tier of speed drop. And so this Weavile does go down to the incinerate, and the Dragapult comes back in. So Dragapult is also very fast and has a similar situation and just kills this mag mortar. And Milk only has Lapras available to try and fight it, but the Lapras is too low because of all the stuff it was doing before, and so it just dies. And then Buzzwole comes in, but the Crobat's still alive on Merc's side, and does have a 4 times effective Brave Bird. Even though the Crobat's burned, it's still going to be enough to win there. Gets a crit also. And that will be Merc moving on to the grand finals. Big battle.